Everyone thought the wedding was over. Until your soulmate called out your name. My beloved child. Don't skip, because this moment is unlike anything you have ever imagined. Something huge is waiting for you. A wedding hall was glowing with celebration, laughter echoed from every corner, and everyone believed the story had already reached its ending. The vows were ready, the families were smiling, and every guest was convinced that nothing could possibly interrupt the ceremony. Yet beneath all the celebration, one heart carried a silence no one could understand. Your soulmate kept glancing toward the entrance as if expecting someone who was never supposed to appear. Every passing second made that feeling stronger. The smiles became harder to hold, and the excitement around them slowly turned into an unexplainable weight. Nobody realized that the biggest surprise of the entire day had already begun unfolding. Then the atmosphere changed in a way that left everyone speechless. Stay till the end, because what happened next shocked every person in that room. Just as the ceremony moved toward its final moment, your soulmate suddenly stopped moving. The music continued, but they seemed unable to hear it. Family members exchanged worried looks, while whispers spread through the crowd. Someone softly asked if everything was all right, but no answer came. Instead, your soulmate closed their eyes for a brief moment, as though remembering something far more powerful than the celebration standing before them. It wasn't fear that filled their heart. It was a truth they had tried to bury, but the closer the ceremony came to its end, the louder that truth became. The room fell into complete silence. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Everyone believed the wedding was finally over, and all that remained was one last sentence. But before anyone could continue, your soulmate slowly lifted their head, took a deep breath, and prepared to say words that no one expected to hear. Guests leaned forward in disbelief. Even those standing closest could feel that history was about to change forever. The next few seconds would leave families stunned, friendships shaken, and every plan completely rewritten. And the name that was about to break the silence was the one nobody thought would ever be spoken again, your name. A wave of disbelief swept across the room the instant your name escaped your soulmate's lips. No one moved. No one even dared to breathe too loudly. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The families looked at one another, searching for an explanation that simply did not exist. Some thought they had misheard. Others waited for someone to laugh and call it a mistake. But your soulmate didn't take the words back. Instead, they stood there with complete honesty in their eyes, as though carrying a truth that had become impossible to hide any longer. In that moment, the celebration no longer felt like a wedding. It felt like a room waiting for a secret that had been locked away for far too long. The silence became heavier with every passing second. Stay till the end, because what happened next changed everything. An older relative slowly stood up and looked directly at your soulmate before asking one quiet question, why now? The entire room froze. Everyone wanted the answer. Your soulmate lowered their head for a moment, then calmly admitted that no matter how much time had passed, no matter how many voices had tried to convince them to move on, one name had never left their heart. They confessed that every step toward this ceremony had felt incomplete because the story they truly wanted had never been given a real ending. Those words spread through the room like a shockwave, leaving every guest questioning everything they believed only moments earlier. Then an unexpected sound broke the silence. A phone resting on a nearby table suddenly began to ring. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Every eye turned toward it, and no one could explain why that single call felt so important. Your soulmate stared at the screen without touching it, their expression changing in an instant. The color drained from their face, while those standing closest sensed that another hidden truth was about to surface. No one knew who was calling or what message was waiting on the other side. But everyone could feel that the next decision would either rewrite the future forever, or reveal a secret that had been waiting for this exact moment. The phone continued ringing, but no one reached for it. Every second felt longer than the last. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate stared at the screen as though they already knew that answering this call would change everything. The room remained completely silent. The music had stopped, the conversations had vanished, and even the people who had been celebrating only moments before now stood frozen in place. Then, without saying a single word, your soulmate picked up the phone and listened. No one could hear the voice on the other end, yet everyone could see the emotion slowly appearing on their face. Their eyes filled with determination instead of fear, and for the first time that day, they looked completely certain about what they had to do. A quiet murmur spread through the guests as your soulmate ended the call and turned toward both families. Don't skip, because the biggest revelation was only beginning. They took one slow step forward and admitted that they had spent far too long trying to satisfy everyone except their own heart. Every decision had been made to avoid disappointing others, but the truth had never changed. They confessed that pretending to move forward had only made the emptiness grow deeper. The room became so still that every heartbeat seemed louder than the last. Some guests lowered their heads. Others wiped away tears they never expected to shed. At that moment, people realized this was never about choosing between two futures, it was about finally facing the truth that had been waiting all along. Then something happened that no one in the room expected. Something huge is waiting for you. The doors at the back of the hall slowly opened, and every head turned at once. A cool breeze swept through the room, carrying an unexplainable feeling that made everyone stand completely still. Your soulmate looked toward the entrance with hope shining in their eyes, as if they had been waiting for this exact moment from the very beginning. Nobody knew who was about to walk through those doors, but one thing had become clear: the wedding everyone believed was finished was only the beginning of a story far greater than anyone had imagined. The doors remained open, yet for a few endless seconds, no one stepped inside. That silence was louder than every celebration that had filled the hall earlier. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Every guest turned toward the entrance, expecting an answer that never came. Your soulmate didn't look away for even a moment. It was as if they believed that hope deserved one final chance. Then a gentle voice from the crowd asked, "Are you certain about this?" Your soulmate slowly nodded and replied that living with an honest heart was better than spending a lifetime hiding behind a perfect moment that never truly belonged to them. Those words echoed through the room, leaving every person questioning whether they had mistaken appearances for truth all along. A quiet conversation suddenly began among the family members. Some wanted the ceremony to continue, while others admitted they had noticed the hesitation long before this day arrived. Stay till the end, because the next revelation changed the atmosphere completely. One elderly relative stepped forward with tears in their eyes and confessed that they had been waiting for someone to finally speak the truth. They revealed that real peace could never be built on silence or pressure. As those words settled over the room, expressions of confusion slowly turned into understanding. People who had once believed the story was finished now realized they had only witnessed the beginning of something far more meaningful. Even those who disagreed could no longer deny the honesty standing before them. Your soulmate then reached into a small pocket and unfolded a carefully protected piece of paper that had clearly been carried for a very long time. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The paper contained a few simple lines that instantly brought emotion to their face. Before anyone could ask what it meant, they looked toward the entrance once again and whispered that this message had been kept safe because one day the truth would finally have its moment. Every eye remained fixed on that paper, wondering who had written it and why it had been hidden until now. The answer waiting inside those words was powerful enough to change every life in that room forever. Your soulmate slowly unfolded the letter with trembling hands, protecting it as though it had become the most valuable thing they had ever carried. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Every eye remained fixed on that single page. No one spoke. No one interrupted. The room that had once echoed with celebration now waited for a truth hidden inside a few handwritten lines. After taking a deep breath, your soulmate quietly admitted that this letter had never allowed them to forget the person who had changed their heart forever. It had traveled with them through every season of doubt, every attempt to move on, and every moment they tried to convince themselves that the past no longer mattered. The first sentence was read aloud, and the atmosphere changed instantly. Stay till the end, because this revelation was unlike anything the guests expected. The words did not speak about regret or promises that could never be fulfilled. Instead, they spoke about a connection that refused to disappear, no matter how much time had passed. As each line was read, faces filled with emotion. Some guests lowered their heads, while others quietly wiped tears from their eyes. They realized that what they were witnessing was not the end of a relationship but the return of a truth that had patiently waited for the right moment to be heard. Then your soulmate carefully folded the letter again and looked toward the entrance one more time. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. A gentle smile appeared for the first time that day, as though a heavy burden had finally been lifted. Just when everyone believed there were no more surprises left, footsteps echoed from beyond the doorway. Slow, steady, impossible to ignore. Every heartbeat inside the hall seemed to stop at once. Whoever was approaching carried the final piece of a story that no one had seen coming, and the next few seconds would reveal a secret capable of changing every future that had been planned inside that room. The footsteps grew louder until every person in the hall turned toward the entrance. No one dared to whisper. No one even looked away. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The figure finally appeared, but instead of rushing forward, they paused for a moment as if allowing the silence to speak first. Your soulmate's eyes immediately filled with emotion, not because they had expected this moment, but because it confirmed what their heart had refused to let go of all along. The room no longer felt like a place where a wedding had ended. It felt like a place where the truth had finally arrived, carrying answers that had been delayed for far too long. For a few unforgettable seconds, neither of them spoke. Stay till the end, because the greatest revelation was still ahead. Every guest watched as your soulmate slowly walked forward, each step filled with courage instead of hesitation. The distance between them became smaller, while the questions inside the room grew larger. People who had once believed everything was settled now realized they had misunderstood the entire story. What they thought was an ending had only been a pause before destiny revealed its next chapter. Even those who had opposed this connection could no longer deny the sincerity shining through your soulmate's eyes. It was the kind of honesty that cannot be rehearsed and cannot be hidden. Then your soulmate smiled through tears and quietly said that some names never leave the heart because they were never meant to be forgotten. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. A gentle breeze moved through the hall as every face remained frozen in disbelief. The families waited for the next words, knowing they would decide everything. But instead of speaking immediately, your soulmate reached into their pocket one final time and revealed a small object that no one had ever seen before. The moment everyone recognized what it was, a wave of shock swept through the entire room. Because that single hidden keepsake carried a secret powerful enough to rewrite the future forever. The small keepsake rested quietly in your soulmate's hand, yet it carried more meaning than anyone could have imagined. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The guests leaned forward, trying to understand why such an ordinary-looking object had brought an entire wedding to a standstill. Your soulmate looked at it for a long moment before saying that this had never been a symbol of the past, it had always been a reminder of a future that still refused to disappear. The room became completely silent again. Every person realized they were witnessing a truth that had survived time, distance, and countless attempts to erase it. A close family member finally stepped forward and asked the question everyone had been afraid to say out loud. If your heart has always known the answer, why did you wait until today? Stay till the end, because the response changed every heart in that room. Your soulmate quietly admitted that fear had been louder than faith for a long time. They had worried about disappointing others, breaking expectations, and choosing a path no one would understand. But standing at the edge of a life that didn't feel real made one thing impossible to ignore. The heart can remain silent for only so long before the truth demands to be heard. Those words spread through the hall like a wave, leaving many guests with tears in their eyes. Then something happened that no one expected. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. One by one, the people who had been watching in silence slowly stepped aside, clearing a path through the center of the hall. No one instructed them to do it. No one spoke a single word. It simply happened, as though every person suddenly understood that this story had not reached its final chapter yet. Your soulmate looked down that open path with hope shining brighter than ever before, because at the other end, someone was about to reveal a truth that had been hidden since the very beginning, and nothing would ever be the same again. The path through the hall remained completely clear, and every heartbeat seemed to echo through the silence. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate slowly walked forward without looking left or right. Every step carried confidence instead of doubt. The people who had once believed this day was already decided now stood quietly, realizing they had become witnesses to a story no one could have predicted. Then your soulmate stopped in the middle of the room, closed their eyes for a brief moment, and smiled. It wasn't the smile of someone escaping the past. It was the smile of someone finally embracing the truth they had carried for far too long. In that unforgettable silence, they softly admitted that no amount of time, distance, or pressure had ever been strong enough to erase the place your name held in their heart. The atmosphere completely transformed. Stay till the end, because this is the moment everything changes. Faces that had been filled with confusion slowly turned into expressions of understanding. Even those who had opposed this connection could no longer deny what they had just witnessed. It wasn't about winning or losing. It wasn't about pleasing a crowd. It was about choosing honesty over fear. One by one, people lowered their heads, realizing that some connections cannot be replaced simply because the calendar moves forward. Your soulmate looked around the room and quietly said that every delay had prepared them for the courage they finally found today. Those words settled over everyone like a promise that truth will always find its moment. Then, before anyone could speak again, your soulmate looked straight ahead and whispered that this story was never meant to end inside that wedding hall. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They declared that the future would no longer be built on silence, assumptions, or expectations created by others. It would be built on the truth they had finally chosen to live. At that exact moment, hope replaced uncertainty, peace replaced fear, and an ending that everyone expected became the beginning of an entirely new journey. What the world believed was the final chapter became the first page of a far greater story, one that had always been waiting for the perfect moment to begin.